Hey guys, and welcome to another First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a recently released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions. Today we're looking at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection, which is literally an archive of everything ever released. This is an odd one because the best thing about this game is not the game, but we'll get into that later on. As always, we'll look at the options first, then we'll go through the extras, and there are a lot of them, and then we'll jump into the gameplay last. I'll probably just choose one single game from the entire collection to give my thoughts on all of the games from the single collection. So let's not waste any more time, let's jump straight into it. Alright, unsurprisingly, there isn't a lot of options here. There are a lot of old games. I think some of the games have options that you can go into separately, but for the most part, this is what you're going to need. There are a lot of old games, there's not going to be a lot of computing power behind them, and your maximum resolution seems to be 1280 by 720, which is fine. It's serviceable. Again, it's old games, and like I said before, the real value in this game is not the games themselves, it's the options and the optional extras. You do get to VSync, you can put your vibration on or off, you can change your language, but overall, unsurprisingly, not a lot to talk about in the options. Let's go through those extras, shall we? Alright, so this is the Turtles Lair, and there is a lot to go through here. This is all of the optional extras that you get, and the really cool thing is you don't have to play to unlock them. They're all unlocked, they're all available for you to jump straight into. And you can, as you can see, search for the one you want. So we're going to break this down. We're going to go into each sort of section individually, and I'm going to talk about them because there is a lot to unpack. And this, in my opinion, is where the base value of this game comes from, and it's not the game. So we're going to look at the boxes and manuals first, and we'll go through each option therein. Alright, so boxes and manuals. We have the game boxes, and you can literally go through each of them. You've got the manuals, and again, you can go through each of them, and when you click on them, you've got each of the pages so you can see them all. It doesn't look like they've got their English counterparts to them. So if you can't read Japanese, you're probably going to struggle a little bit. But this is really fucking cool. This is really, really fucking awesome. So this one's got all the English with it and stuff, and all the artwork and everything that was in them. This is real, like, real good value stuff. Like, if you wanted to ever be a collector, but you couldn't collect it, you didn't want it for the value, you wanted it for the personal memories and everything that it brought from being a child, and really enjoying the whole TMNT sort of franchise, this is perfect. Like, this is awesome. This is a treasure trove, literally a treasure trove of just cool stuff, and we're only scratching the surface. So let's see what else this Turtles Lair has to offer. Next up, we've got the ads and catalogues, which just has all of the magazine advertisements that they ever did. There's 37 here. I'm not going to go through all of them because I don't want to ruin it for you, but this is, again, this is just cool. I mean, you've got the little cosplay here when they were trying, you know, when Photoshop first sort of came in and they were getting a bit higher with it. Then you've got the different magazines and stuff that they did, and this is just cool. This is really, really awesome. They even have all of the comic books. Like, how bloody awesome is this? You've got 1 to 10, you've got all of them, like literally all of them. So you can go through and you can see all of them that they've got there. You've got the information, you can click and see who's featured. Like, this is dope. The only thing that would have been better is if it actually had the actual comics themselves, but obviously it's just the covers, which is still pretty damn cool. Yeah, I'm in awe about how complete and fantastic this collection really is. But we're not done yet. Next up, we have the animated shows. Now, unfortunately, they're not the actual animated shows. They're just storyboards from them, right? So you've got season 1, you've got all your storyboards here. It would have been really cool if it was the animated shows, but the game would just be absolutely insanely massive if that was the case. But even then, this is still cool because you can see how the animation style and everything changed as it goes through, right? If we go all the way to the latest one in 2018, you can see just how the animation style has really come along and changed. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge fan of the animation style of the latest show in 2018, but it's still cool nonetheless. They really did think about this game and the value it could hold just by having all these collectibles. And again, you don't need to play any of the game to unlock this. This is just here from the get-go. Next up, we've got the behind the scenes. Now, this is really cool as well. You've got all of the behind the scenes sort of stuff, the excerpts and stuff from different shows. And, you know, you've got things that you can look through, and you can see all the sort of concept art and things and how they came about. Again, really, really cool. You could spend hours just going through all of this. Next up, we've got music, and again, this is really cool because it's been stylized. You get a little cassette, and it also shows you what console the music was from, right? So you've got the Turtles in Time, which is obviously from an arcade machine, and then you've got the little symbol on the bottom right for Fall of the Foot Clan, and you know, you've got all these different cassettes from different games that they released, and you can literally go through and play them, and it shows you how long they are. You've got the different cutscenes you can go through. Like, this is dope. This, again, adds just so much value to this game because you can go through and just literally listen to them and just enjoy it, and it's really cool. So yeah, there you go. You got all the soundtracks from all the games featured in the games that you can just listen to whenever you want. Really, really awesome. And lastly, we have the strategy guides. So you can literally go through and see them. You can see all the strategy guides for how you're supposed to get through and what you're supposed to do, and they've got these really little cool artworks and stuff, which I'm assuming was in the original game. So you can, if you're struggling, you can go through and see. It's got all the different combos that you can do, all the different moves for all the different characters, which is just fucking dope. Like, this game, for the amount of extras they've done, is literally worth its weight in gold, in my personal opinion. It's a literal treasure trove, and I love it. But now we've looked through all that, let's look at the actual games and the gameplay and see if they hold up to time. Alright, so as you can see, we have a comic book strip with all the different types of games, and it plays you a little bit from each game to show you what you're about to do. It also shows you what console it's from on the underneath, so you can see whether it's from a later sort of like the Sega area, or if it's from an earlier sort of like the Commodore era, or if it's from like the Game Boy, for example, or whatever. It shows you what it's from. And unfortunately for me, we're going to just pick any random one. Unfortunately for me, a lot of these games were released before I was even born, so I don't have the nostalgia factor that a lot of people that are going to be getting this game have. And unfortunately for me, the games really, really don't stack up to the test of time. They are very clunky. They're not very fun to play. You get like no sort of range with your characters. The controller, they've done the best job they can, but it doesn't really work with it. And on the whole, it's not very good. This is it. This was the game animation on the Game Boy. You have some things that you got to come down. It's very hard to see because it's true pixel style. It's not pixel art style that's been made, so it's not very high def. Like, they've done an okay job of bringing it up to as modern as standard as they can, but honestly, they're all pretty damn bad. Now, that's not to say that they're not worth playing. If you've got the nostalgia factor, or if you want to see how games sort of were back in the day and you don't want to use an emulator, then sure. But like I said before, the game really sort of... The best thing about the game isn't the games, right? The best thing for me about the game is going for all those storyboards and all the optional extras. This is something that I would do to pass the time, but I would get very, very bored very, very, very quickly. And very frustrated as well, like when you try and hit something and, you know, there's not that free range movement that you get in games these days. There's not a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of freedom. The range, like I say, isn't good. The range of moves is terrible as well. Like, you can't really do a lot. You know, you can slide, you can sort of do this weird tapping with the thing to kill the enemies and get some score. But overall, it's not, you know, it depends what you want from the game, right? If you want top-notch turtle power sort of games, then just wait for a new one to come out. If you want something that's going to take you back to old school Game Boy days in relatively high quality that works, then yeah, sure. But again, most people that buy this are not going to be buying this for the games, I don't believe. I think they're going to be buying it because the optional extras are just that damn good. Let me know in those comments down below what you think. Let me know what the best feature of the game is for you. What of the collection you're most looking forward to. And I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for hanging out. Ciao, ciao.